This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
This is the Mikedjkelly podcast.
Mikedjkelly. Yes, I've checked the date and the clock, and yes, you lucky people, it's time for another Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast. So without further ado, let's crack on with our special Things Are Crumbling at the Top, edition 65.
On this week's podcast.
Coming up, Eton or Elton, teeth, Del Monte, escape to the Chateau, hearing aids, my digital friend Joyce, Professor Frank McDonough, fake Showbiz news, charities, competitions, and a whole lot more.
Please note the information provided by the Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast is for information purposes only and should not be substituted for any type of professional advice. If you have any concerns, please consult with a qualified person or an adult.
Yabba-dabba-dabba-doo, it's the Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you. People are going to Glastonbury to get their teeth done by the festival's medical volunteers as they cannot get a dentist at home. Disbelief and anger among Greek shipwreck victims' relatives as millions spent on Titan's submarine rescue effort. UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly said the UK government was closely supporting the British families affected. That's of the Titan submarine. The man from Del Monte say guards at Del Monte farm in Kenya accused of killings. Actor Al Pacino is a father again at 83. Noor Afala, 29, greeted Hollywood star's fourth child. Good news from The Guardian / Observer Media Group, which has banned all gambling advertising on its online and print outlets. Angel Adori and Dick Strawbridge, stars of Escape to the Chateau, have escaped from Channel 4 after Angel's blue-tongued outburst to programme makers. Tufnell's British delivery giant goes crashing into administration. Prince Harry in court saying Britain's government and press at rock bottom. You know when the Corp says we do food properly, it's lying. Have you seen their Scottish baking potatoes? Miniature things. There'll be nothing left after they're cooked.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
You see these adverts from Boots and Specsavers, etc., about buying a hearing aid. Have you seen the prices? You could put a deposit on a house or buy a decent second-hand car for the price for charging. Is it a rigged market where the prices are being kept artificially high? I mean, you could buy a good, complete disco sound system with similar components in it for less. I think we're being taken for fools and taken for a ride. These hearing aids should cost much less. I picked my new NHS Bluetooth rechargeable ones for $3 up very shortly. Why would anyone pay? Thank God for the NHS. Just found out the mother-in-law is going to Specsavers. Just watched Pointless Celebrities and didn't recognise any of the celebrities. So it really was pointless. Daughter's just been to a 3-day outbreak festival at Manchester. No tents or camping. You all stay in hotels or go home at the end of each day. I see the BBC is making Radio 1 presenters relocate from Cardiff to London to present programmes, while Radio 4 is making presenters move from London to Cardiff to present their shows. Somebody should look at the bigger picture.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Can you hold your nerve in a difficult situation, like when you're dealing with your bank or building society or mortgage advisor? If not, why not join our poker face course at Rishi Anakashita's training school? That's RATS for short. To learn how to keep your nerve in these financially challenging times without actually doing anything. When faced with a meeting with your bank manager, we'll teach you how to keep a stiff upper back and hold your nerve when in difficult financial discussions, when not having our millions to fall back on. To get started, send your £1,000 initial payment to us. You'll find full details at the website at rats.co.uk. Joyce, what's going on? What's happened? What are you doing there, my little imaginary digital friend?
J8M.
What are you saying, Joyce?
Is it love you're after or just a good time?
Have you banged your head?
We don't have to take our clothes off to have a good time.
Joyce, you're talking in riddles or song titles, and as 10cc would say, I'm not in love.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
If you want to get in touch with this top-rated and sometimes much listened to podcast, please contact mike.djkelly at gmail.com. On Twitter at MikeKellyDisco. Indeed, if you want a podcast making for your business or need help with radio producer or presentation, travel news, voiceover work, please do get in touch. Please tell your friends about the podcast. All they need to do to find it is to search on Google for the Mikedjkelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
On Twitter, Peter K. Erasable ink, lost mobile phones, disappearing WhatsApp messages all add to a picture of a cavalier attitude towards ensuring government is accountable for its actions. Stephen McGann, a year out. I fear we've arrived at the screw it, we're going to lose. Let's just nick whatever isn't nailed down and mess up the rest while we can phase of government. Train driver Eton. Removing checkout staff from shops didn't make your groceries any cheaper. Removing staff from the railways won't reduce your ticket price. Without barriers at most stations, revenue will go down and there will be less money to run trains with. You have been warned. Danny Wilkes, last year my utility bill tripled. This year my mortgage has tripled. The Bank of England is doing a pretty poor job of controlling inflation. £545 to £1,967 overnight is quite an increase to swallow. Sheena, Axel running around like a 5-year-old on blue Smarties. Kate, Ken Loach said, I turned down the OBE because it's not a club you want to join when you look at the villains who've got it. Chris Williamson, to stark contrast to UK Labour, which expelled Ken Loach, the Pope has honoured him. Martin Jones. It's okay for Tory MPs to call a cross-party committee a kangaroo court, but heaven forbids Elton John criticises the PM. Nicholas Cook, #Eton and #Harrow boys are boys, without which counts against them. But they are public school boys as well, which means they receive a double dose of negative discrimination. John Gardner, evasive Orwellian word salad. Ben Elton on Sunak's pathetic rehearsed response to questions from Laura Kuensberg. I don't know how journalists put up with this media-trained nonsense from politicians. What happened to transparency and genuine conversations? Well done, Ben. Aaron. Elton John can play the piano, sing, entertain, and has raised millions for charity. And yet Piers Morgan is tweeting whether Elton is reading lyrics to his songs. What's Piers done? Oh yeah, he hacked phones and caused his victims misery. We love you, #Elton John, #Glastonbury. Ilana Estelle, author. Elton John, I'm a European, not a stupid imperialist English idiot. Get the gist. I'm also European, as are my family. Taking our rights away doesn't make us any less European. The #EU know that. They're not stupid, unlike UK politicians.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Mr. Shorter Than Short, how did you get that title?
It's about the length of the podcast, nothing else.
Are you one of the 7%? You know the 7% mentioned in the newspapers recently.
No idea as ever. What are you talking about?
Mr. Mike, are you one of the 7% who are currently transitioning?
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Tell you what I miss about the old days. Stink bombs, catapults, and Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon t-shirts. Let's have some proper history with Professor Frank McDonough on Twitter at FXMC1957. July 2007, smoking in England was banned in all public indoor spaces, including pubs, restaurants, nightclubs and most workplaces. July 1977, British tennis legend Virginia Wade, Ginny, won the ladies' singles championship at Wimbledon in its centenary year. 1972, the first official gay pride march in England took place in London. The date was chosen as it was the nearest Saturday to the anniversary of the Stonewall riots of 1969. The crowd taking part was estimated at 200 people. July 1967, colour television came to Europe when BBC Two broadcast live coverage from Wimbledon Lawn Tennis Championships. Initially only 5 hours a day were in colour broadcasts, but by December 1967, 80% of BBC programmes were in colour. July 1961, Diana Spencer, later Princess of Wales, was born in Park House, Sandringham. She was the first wife of Charles, the Prince of Wales, and the mother of Prince William and Prince Harry. Her activism and glamour made her an international icon. 1951. British actor Trevor Eve, born in Sutton Coldfield, he rose to fame in the BBC One private detective series Shoestring and is also known for his role in Waking the Dead. July 1945, Debbie Harry, the lead singer of the new wave band Blondie, was born in Miami, Florida, USA. Hits include Heart of Glass, Call Me, Sunday Girl, Picture This, Don't Leave Me Hanging on the Telephone, Atomic and The Tide is High. July 1908, SOS was adopted as the International Distress Call. In Morse code, SOS is signified by 3 dots, 3 dashes, then 3 dots. SOS was chosen because it could not be misinterpreted as being a message for anything else. July 1899, the acclaimed British actor Charles Laughton was born in Scarborough. Amongst his biggest films were The Private Life of Henry VIII, The Barretts of Wimpole Street, Mutiny on the Bounty, Hobson's Choice, Jamaica Inn, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
If you're new to the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast, you can get it from all your normal sites for downloading podcasts from. All previous programs are still available. Just search or shout for the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast to find more. And if time allows, please leave a review.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Today's charity do-gooders are Simon on the Streets and can be found at simononthestreets.co.uk. We offer unlimited emotional and practical support for homeless and vulnerable people to enable them to achieve their goals. We're a homeless charity based in Leeds, Bradford and Huddersfield. Our services are delivered on an outreach basis directly to the streets across all 3 areas. This ensures we are supporting individuals who are homeless and may not be engaging with other services. We deliver our outreach during the day, but also in the evening and in the early hours of the morning when many of the most vulnerable are struggling. To find out more or to make a donation, head off to simononthestreets.co.uk.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
So music quiz time. Guess the song that these lines are from. I feel inclined to blow my mind. Get hung up. Feed the ducks with a bun. They've all come out to groove about. Be nice and have fun in the sun. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. Ha. Name the song or the RT, Stephen.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Fake showbiz news as on Twitter. This week's episode of Celebrity Rich House Poor House to feature P. Diddy swapping his 146-room Miami mansion for Mark Morrison's cramped bedsit in Leicester. Ollie Murs admits he thought with those hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tours, you actually had to hop. Davina McCall says January can be a depressing month, so now's the time to start working on a plan to make January 2024 more cheery. Maybe book a foreign holiday or arrange a threesome, she suggested. British Airways ordered to pay Rainbow, star Zippy, $2.3 million in compensation after flight attendant forcibly zipped his mouth shut during a 2019 flight to Singapore. George Ezra says he's sick of people telling him how much their young children love green grass. I actually wrote it for grown-ups, he sighed. Arise Satoni, legendary Frosties mascot, receives a knighthood in the King's birthday honours. It's great to have been recognised, he told reporters. Spotify prices to go up by £2 a month from 23rd of July. You can all blame Meghan Markle and her boring podcast, said Gavin Spotify.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Guess the celebrity, nice easy one this time, born on the 19th of July 1947. This is an English musician, singer, songwriter and astrophysicist. He is the lead guitarist of a rock band. He was ranked at number 26 on Rolling Stone's list of 100 greatest guitarists of all time. In 2012, he was ranked the second greatest guitarist in a Guitar World magazine readers' poll. He was a science team collaborator with NASA's New Horizons Pluto mission and is also an animal rights activist, campaigning against the hunting of foxes and the culling of badgers in the UK. Who is he?
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
On Twitter, Richard Horsman. What is it with hotels these days? You used to know where you were, but since COVID, it's all gone to hell. Nitin Sahani. Today, Cruella and the system is rigged against the British people because she lost. No, the system is designed to prevent monsters like her implementing disgusting racist policies to appease the worst people in the UK. Cruella and this government are simply rigged against humanity. Will Hutton, what an anti-British tribes the Tories have become. An ex-PM expelled from the House of Commons as a liar. A current PM and Home Secretary determined to breach the rule of law at home and abroad over Rwanda. They are a national and international embarrassment. R.S. Archer. I have just learnt on the day it was privatised, Thames Water was debt-free. It has now run up £14 billion worth of debt. By paying bonuses to its executives, why do British people put up with this so often? Robert Reach. No one needs billionaires to colonise outer space. We need them to pay their fair share of taxes so people can thrive here on Earth. Dr. Julia Grace Patterson. Newsflash. Immigrants did not break the NHS. Politicians did. John Edwards. Kick them out of Parliament. No pensions, no perks, no nothing. Get them gone. We've had enough of these bent, overpaid, privileged goons living on our backs.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Late news. UK pupils sent to churches and village halls as crumbling school buildings close. John Holmes retires from the BBC in Nottingham after 53 years and 25 months. Thames Water, help! Slow news day as Swan on the track halts the Elizabeth line. How much should you tip in a restaurant? £1 a person or 10%? Asking for a friend. Should I book for next year's Glastonbury to get my teeth fixed or go private? Neighbours just bought a new hybrid car and tells me to change a headlight bulb. They have to take off the wing and remove all the tyres. I think before you buy a new car, you should check you can change the headlamp bulb yourself. 2022 was dubbed the year of lost luggage, with incidents doubling to 7.6 bags per 1,000 passengers going astray. BBC blames third-party data supplier for constantly showing the weather as a cool snap at 8 degrees C on the news at 10 and online services.
Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mike Kelly Short and Short podcast for you.
Okay, it's time to go. Name the song or the artiste. I feel inclined to blow my mind. Get hung up, feed the duck with a bun. They all come out to groove about, be nice and have fun in the sun. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. It's all too beautiful. Ha. It was the Small Faces, Itchiku Park. Guess the celebrity, the nice easy one, born on the 19th of July 1947. This is an English musician, singer, songwriter and astrophysicist. He is the lead guitarist of a rock band who was ranked at number 26 on Rolling Stone's list of 100 greatest guitarists of all time. In 2012, he was ranked the second greatest guitarist in a Guitar World magazine readers' poll. He was a science team collaborator with NASA's New Horizons Pluto mission and is also an animal rights activist campaigning against the hunting of foxes and the culling of badgers in the UK. Who is he? Brian Harold May. Yes, the one from Queen. Today's do-gooders are Simon on the Street and can be found at simononthestreet.co.uk. Guess what? That's enough for this. Things are crumbling at the top edition of the crazy Shorter Than Short podcast show from me, Mike Kelly.
And me, Joyce.
Thank you for listening. Please take care out there. And remember, you can always find the podcast by searching or shouting the MikeDJkelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
This is the Mike Kelly podcast.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Mike Kelly.